Hello everyone, today I'll be doing a solo Grandmaster run SABER with Hunter. For my subclass, I'll be using Nightstalker. Here are the mods and fragments I'll be using in this video. For my kinetic, I'll be using Krait. Next, I'll be using the Monarque and Taipan. This is going to be the commentary video, and if you guys are wondering what's going on with my Hunter, I honestly don't know why she's missing a body. I think she's still angry that we can't play all the nightfalls this season until July. This week I decided to go for the Hunter. Oh, great. Even with the best SABER in the whole Destiny franchise, it can get damaged so easily. Let's just pretend that didn't happen. I passed the shanks. I didn't accidentally went back to orbit. Used the Sparrow to go to the next area without any interruptions. Alright. We will not speak of this ever again. So I am going to be doing the mini cheese method. I have done in the past of the non-cheese where depending of the percent it will be the spawn of the overload champions and then also taking down the ship so it won't keep shooting this arc blast at you. But for this video I decided to just go for the mini cheese and then just to get this done over it. So I am going to do a mini time skip for this section. Once I capture the Warsat, all the ads will despawn except the 3 champions. So even when you do finish the objective, the champions won't despawn, meaning that you can get platinum rank. Everyone is different of their playstyle, but I always try my best to take down the barrier champion. Reason why is because he likes to immune the 2 overload champions, and I despise it so much, and you'll see why later on. You can also go for the precision shots with Taipan, and the reason why I'm using Taipan is because I'm using the build where you can get a buff, especially using the void surges. I am using 3 void surges so I can get at least the 22% buff damage on the Monarque and the linear fusion rifle. Make sure you deal with the overload champion. You can also combo it with Monarque and 2 or 3 shots with the linear. This overload champion was in an awkward spot, and I was trying to switch my weapons, but sometimes my controller is not fast enough to switch weapons to do precision shots dealing with this overload champion. My bad for that. Also using the Foetracer for the Hunter. The reason why is because when the boss's or any champion's health is low, you get more damage buff depending on how much health it has. I don't remember the percent chart of how much damage it does, but all I know is it goes to 2%, then it goes to 10, then it goes 20, then it goes 30%. I don't remember at the moment because I didn't bring my notes for that. It is a very underrated exotic, but another option is you can use the chest plate for the Hunter to get the volatile rounds, so you won't have trouble dealing with the barrier champions when you use your dodge. That is also another option if you don't care about DPS, and if you just want an easier way to deal with the barrier champions, then I do recommend going for volatile rounds exotic chest plate. If you are curious of using the Foetracer, then I recommend to try it out. If not, if you hate the exotic chest plate where you can get volatile rounds and you don't like the Foetracer, then I recommend just going for the Arc Hunter to deal with the overloads and the barrier. Now, I decided to go in this spot. This spot isn't really 100% the safest. I usually like to be at the middle of this tunnel. And the reason why is sometimes these Fallens can attack you and they're still immune or shielded and protected by the baby servitor or the barrier servitor. And it can be very frustrating. Right now, I'm just trying to use Monarque to do precision shots because I was seeing these invisible Fallens. Then I decided to touch grass because I was getting a little frustrated with this situation. Because they're shooting all this solar at me, and then these Fallens are turning invisible, and then this aim assist, auto-aiming, console issues that I despise, and you'll see more of that. I mean, if you guys think this was bad, you're gonna love the 2 overload champions I had trouble. Because they did nerf Monarque, so there were times where I'm trying to combo with Taipan, and it wasn't really working as efficient as it was previous seasons. Because they nerfed the poison, or if I'm wrong, they did nerf the Monarque. You have to be extremely careful when using Monarque. Make sure you use precision shots so you can have the poison and it can stay overloaded. Now I was having some issues at this part because these snipers were in the way and it messed up my second super because I wanted to tether the fallen snipers. And the reason why I use my tether is it can also damage the Fallens even if it is immune from the barrier champion. That's the reason why I used it. It wasn't a mistake. It was on purpose. But then this sniper didn't get Monarque because, well, it blocked my second tether and it kind of messed up my DPS. Well, thank you. Thank you, Bungie or Fallen ad sniper for messing up my super DPS. So now we're going to deal with probably the most frustrating part is dealing with the barrier champion at the same time dealing with this overload champion shooting this arc seeker at me. And I had to pull back a bit because this guy, this overload champion, was being extremely not cooperating. And with the flinch and the power of console aim assist or auto aiming, I'm having a hard time dealing with this barrier champion. It just gets worse and worse, doesn't it? This is why most players are going for the Arc Hunter, because it's way easier to deal with these champions. And for me, I have done the Arc Hunter so many times. I mean, there is one with Gathering Storm with Divinity. Before Divinity got nerfed. Alright, I mean, that's one of the reasons why I didn't want to go for Arc Hunter. Because I already done it so many times. It's just different every season. It's either going to be stronger or nerfed. But for this season, it's going to be much more stronger than the previous seasons when I was using Arc Hunter. So this overload champion is just shooting his Arc Seekers, my poor Hunter. And this is why Warlocks are just so amazing when you can just use your healing drift while dealing with the overload champions. Where sadly, the Hunter doesn't have that. Unless you're using the exotic chest plate where you can get volatile rounds with Monarque and Taipan. But, you know, it is an option if you want to go for that exotic instead of the Foetracer. Or if you want the Orpheus rigs to get 3 tethers. That is entirely up to you. I just decided to try out this underrated exotic. Not a lot of people like this exotic so much. So now I'm going to be using finisher, ballerina twirl. Isn't that funny? I complained about the barrier champions from Lightblade doing a ballerina twirl, and now my hunter is doing a ballerina twirl with the finisher. So there's gonna be this arc charge where I need to take it down. Now I have mention of taking down the arc charge, and then you can take down the overload champions from the back. But for this video, I'm not gonna do it because the super for the hunter is not strong, unfortunately. Plus, I'm not using the chest plate. I mean, it could work with the chest plate with volatile rounds, a big maybe. But then again, I don't think it would. Maybe a different exotic instead of Monarque. I mean, there is an idea I wanted to do, but I just don't have time to do any testings. So during this mini phase, you must deal with the overload champions. And there's gonna be 2 of them. I don't really like this spot, but I might as well just try it out. Because the thing is that it's really hard to see the precision shots or to try the precision shots with Taipan. So that's why I was just spamming La Monarque. And then make sure you take down the shanks. Now there's gonna be these gold bar shanks. They can 2-shot you, so just be extremely careful. They can also 1-shot you if you don't have the Arc of the Resilience. So make sure you put 2 of them on. And now this is the Overload Champion, the one that shoots solar. So if you can combo it with Taipan. Then we are using the Void Surges, so I'm using 3. So it will be around 22%. But, you know, it's not like higher energy fire like the old season where it's 25%. You know, they nerfed it. I'm still upset. Still upset that they nerfed one of my favorite mods. And then Firepower. Remember the Firepower mod? Well, they nerfed that too. I mean, they have it for orbs. Orbs. I am extremely fed up with the orbs. I did try the new mod where when you dodge and use orbs. I tried it. It's not that good. Yeah, isn't that funny? It's actually not that great. Especially for boss fights like Proving Grounds. Probably if you are just staying in one place or away from the boss, or if there's really nowhere to hide, it's not that great. But I'll do more testing another time. Maybe I'm being too harsh with the mod. I mean, if I had to go back and say which one I like better, I prefer Well Seeker over the new Orb mod. So I am going to take down these shanks, and this is going to be the Hunter way, our charge method, or carrying the Heavy Orb. Now on my Warlock run, if you guys remember, I picked up the Heavy Orb and then I went to the left side, the door. And then I tried to shackle the explosive shank, but it didn't work out, but I still made it. So for this method, I'm just going to take advantage of the invisibility. It's just for players who are still having trouble with the heavy arc orb charge. You can just turn invisible and then just spam the slide. And then once you do that, you'll be able to finish this section. So this is gonna be probably the most annoying area for me because I was having trouble with the Overload champions. So what you can do here to make it more faster, which I didn't do in this video, is you can take down the Overload champion, well, bait the Overload champion, and if you do have the Overload champion at the stairs or on top of the stairs, then you can do DPS. But the thing is, the barrier champion's here and he immune the Overload champions and it's not looking great. So I might as well just use my super. Plus there's these snipers and all these solar fallen spamming at my poor guardian. So this is one thing I really despise. So I was just trying to get rid of this barrier champion, but he kept moving quite a lot and it just gets worse, trust me. I was getting a lot of bad luck in this run. Worse than my warlock. I mean, I thought my warlock was bad. Well, it was a decent run. You know, I didn't really have too much errors, but for the hunter run with the void subclass, I was having a bit of a trouble, which it was hilarious because I'm trying to deal with this barrier and it keeps not cooperating with me. And at the same time, this overload's going to go aggressive, so I decided to use finisher, pull back. Now, if I was on Arc Hunter, if the barrier champion is stagger or the overload champion's on the upstairs from the left side, I will probably just use my Gathering Storm super and just get rid of him. But can't do that in this video since I'm a Void Hunter. Sad face. So one of the Overload champions decided to push, I pull back. Eventually he'll push again and go aggressive and be a... just be a sore loser, this Overload champion. So I'm trying to bait one of them so I can do DPS, because there's 3 Overload champions. They're just teleporting left and right. Left and right. Eventually one of the Overload champions should push and should go from the right side. And then once they do, then you'll be able to do DPS. So once I bait this Overload champion, one of them, then it'll be easier to deal with the Overload champions. Just be aware of the infinite amounts of adds, 2 Fallens that will, well, 3 Fallens that will try to push and try to melee you to send you back to orbit. So once I take down one of the barrier champions, then I deal with these infinite amounts of wretches or these fallen adds, which just keep spawning every 20 seconds. I forgot the time. I don't remember 100%. And then this is me of having issues with aim assist. This is when you're on PS5, PS4, on Xbox. You're trying to do precision shots with the Overload champion, but then with the flinch and the aim assist gets in your way, then you have these infinite amounts of fallen adds in your way as well. Now someone may argue and say, why don't you use your super? Well, here's the thing, I tried it, and then this pillar messed up my super. Alright, I tried. So, and also another reason why the super is not strong is this week is the Strange Surge and Arc Surge. So you're not going to do 25% more damage. And then you can see, I'm trying to aim precision shots, but the Overload is not cooperating. Now do you see why I didn't really use my super so much? Because this Overload champion was not cooperating and I almost messed it up. I mean, I'm doing precision shots at the Overload champion and then it just teleports to regain his health. I don't understand. How is this even possible? I'm using one of the best exotics and it's not consistently staggering the Overload champion so much. So they really did nerf it. But at the same time, it just seems a bit unfair. It just seems a bit unfair of what they did with this weapon. I mean, it's an exotic weapon. Why would they nerf it? I don't understand. Now we're going to be dealing with the next Overload champion. I wanted to save for my super for the next area, dealing with the barrier. But then this Overload champion was not cooperating. He just keeps teleporting. And then these pillars, these mini fences are in the way. So you can see that they did nerf the Monarque. The poison doesn't last long as previous seasons. So you really need to be very careful and make sure you use your precision shot. And you're probably wondering what happened on that part. Well, I was trying to switch to my bow, right? But for some reason, my controller wasn't responding. It was making me switch to my auto rifle instead of the bow. I don't know why, because it is a new controller. It doesn't make any sense. I don't understand. But this is just issues where little things like that can mess up your DPS when dealing with a champion, especially the Overload champion. So make sure you do as much DPS as you can. And then I wasted a lot of heavy, so that's bad luck over here. If I was using Wish Ender, I wouldn't really have any trouble dealing with the Overload, well, the barriers and the sniper. But because we're using the auto rifle and the range isn't the best, and with the auto aiming all over the place, it's gonna be a nightmare. So now I'm just trying to see when can I use my super, because this barrier champion is going to be teleporting left and right, and then we have these snipers that will be immune. So I'm trying my best to deal with the barrier champion. And then at the same time, trying to deal with these snipers, because the snipers are going to be the one that's going to mess up my DPS with champion. Just make sure you take down the champion as fast as you can. If you don't, he's going to move and float all the way from the left side with the 3 Overload champions. Not only that, he is going to immune 3 of them. He's going to protect them. And you're going to have a hard time with the ads, with the mini sniper, with the 3 Overload champions shooting Arc, Arc Seeker, and Solar. And a hint of Void from the barrier champion. No one wants to deal with that, and trust me, you don't want to deal with that. I mean, if you don't believe me, it's probably on my Titan run. And you're gonna see the barrier champion is going to be a bungee, and it's gonna float all the way from the left side, and it's not gonna be pretty. So make sure you throw your grenade as well. The reason why I'm using this grenade is it suppresses the champions, well, Overload, and it can stagger the Overload champion. So that's the reason why I'm using this suppressing grenade, because it helps dealing with the Overload champion so they won't move so much like they did in the other room. So hopefully we'll be dealing with this Overload champion. Jesus, just goes on, doesn't it? So one thing was pretty hilarious was there was a Fallen ad from the right side hiding, which I didn't know, this little drag. It was shooting arc at me, messing up my precision shots with the Overload champion. Make sure you use your finisher, or if you just want to spam that Monarque, go ahead. I was looking for ammo, and now we're going to go to the boss fight. Yeah, the boss fight is going to be really fun. You're going to love it. I had the worst luck in this video. So make sure you don't hug too much of the wall. There's some bugs where you can get one shot. You can see here, took a chunk of my health. Now we're going to be dealing with the baby adorable, lovable servitor. and then deal with the next one from far distance. So during this phase, we're going to be dealing with the SABER, the final boss. So I did some testing and his sniper actually one-shots. Maybe if you have triple solar resilience, it won't one-shot you. But the thing is, you want arc resilience than solar. So just be aware that the boss, the sniper, can one-shot you. Oh, I was testing it to see if it does one-shot you or not. And it does. So during this part I was using my super. You can see the damage isn't so great. Yeah, I know. But why Blitz? Why is not doing so much damage? Well, because this week is Strand Surge and Arc Surge. My super is not doing 25% more damage. Plus, I don't have the Void Surge, the armor charge on, so I'm not doing 22% more damage unless I can dodge and pick up an orb. Also, another thing is, if you do want to pick up an orb, you can, but the thing is that the boss can stomp you. So sometimes weird things happen where the boss will stomp you if you're using the smoke. Invisibility. If you're using the dodge, no, it won't stomp you. Just be very careful with this boss. This is one of the reasons why it's best to use a super, a strong super, so you could do a lot of damage with your super and you don't have to deal with this boss at this phase. See, the reason why the boss is still floating around left and right was because I wasn't using the Arc subclass and I didn't have the Void Surge activated. So during this phase, this is when the boss will go on his resting mode. You can pull back and you can deal with the barrier champion. Just remember that the final boss can snipe you with his solar. So just be super careful and make sure you don't mess around with him. So now I'm going to be spamming the Monarque. So I do have the armor charge. So finally I got a damage buff with Taipan and with the bow. Now after this phase, we're going to go for the DPS phase. So make sure you have your super, or if you are using Arc Hunter, make sure you use your Gathering Storm to do DPS at the boss. Because you'll do a lot of damage. A lot. Compared with the Void subclass for this week because of the Void Surge. Because I'm not getting any of the 25% on my super, which is sad. So once again, I'm going to be using my super. Use precision shots with the Taipan. And then I missed one from the pillar, which was a bummer. So now he's just shooting his sniper. So it's such a bummer. I wasn't having a lot of heavy as well. And the reason why is because I didn't have Void Scavenger. I mean, if I did, I could have more heavy. It was just, I thought it'd be a fun idea to use Void Surge. 3 of them. And the reason why you saw that the boss was a little bit too close to me is because I use invisibility on my hunter. And then the boss starts to act a little different compared to the warlock and the titan. So that's why the boss was way too close in my bubble space. So just be aware and be very careful when you're using your invisibility. I mean, for Void Hunter. I mean, if you are an Arc Hunter, then this really wouldn't happen to you. I mean, I have tried the Strand Hunter, by the way. Funny story. I tested out. I mean, it was working. It was just the final phase. And the DPS wasn't that great. Unless I'm using the Star Eaters. But the thing is, I'm fed up of using the Star Eaters because I did so much last season. So that's why I decided to go for Void Hunter, because I already did the Star Eater method with Strand. It is powerful, don't get me wrong, but that will be another option if you want to go for Strand. Highly recommend Star Eater, because it would do so much damage to the boss. You don't even need to worry about it going psychopathic mode so much. Now we're going to go for the second phase. And one thing I forgot to mention about the downside of Strand Hunter is you need to pull back when your super is almost gone. If you try to get greedy with the DPS and all of a sudden your super is gone, and make sure you take down the snipers on the top. Forgot to mention that as well. The boss will stomp you and will one-shot you. So that's one thing you must be aware of the super for the Strand subclass for the Hunter. And if you're planning to use Star Eaters, it is a good exotic. Highly recommend if you want to try it out, but just be extremely careful when your super is about to run out. You need to pull back or the boss will stomp you. And I'm not joking, I tried it on my run. I tested without Star Eater. It was doing decent, but not enough damage for me. Alright. And I was also having trouble with the super with Overload champions. That was another reason why I didn't use Strand Hunter for this week. And then the only way I can deal with the Overload champions was having the Star Eater. But I didn't want to use Star Eater because I use it so many times off screen. Grandmasters, I just got tired. Now for this part, yes, use your super, because we're going to be doing the method where you're going to take your sweet time, taking down the explosive shanks. And the reason why I'm doing this method is because this week, as I said before, it's Arc and Strand Surge. So my super is not going to do a lot of damage compared to the Light Blade. So last week was Light Blade, if everyone remembers. And the problem with Light Blade was it was Void Surge and Arc Surge. So what happened was I was doing 25% more damage on my Void subclass, which is why I wasn't having too much issue with the barriers and unstoppable champions and the boss and the Lucent Hives. Now for this one, because it's not Void Surge this week, my super won't do that much damage, which is why I was using the Armored Charge build dealing with the champions. Alright, so I do recommend if you are having trouble at the boss, then you must try the Arc Hunter. Or you can go for the exotic chestplate for the Hunter with the volatile rounds, so you can do more damage to the boss. If you do want to stay with Void Hunter, it's an option. So now we're going to be going to this spot as you guys saw previously, and we're going to deal with the infinite amount of explosive shanks. So I'm going to do a mini time skip here until we get to the psychopathic phase. Once we deal with all the explosive shanks, now we're going to deal with the boss. So make sure you spam Monarque over and over and be prepared to use your super, and make sure you have Taipan. As much ammo as you can. So this one was actually really risky, but I do recommend switching for the volatile rounds exotic chestplate if you don't like Foetracer or Arc Hunter. I am going to do DPS until it goes to the psychopathic Stormcaller. So once he turns into a psychopath, I'm going to use my super, throw a grenade, use my super, and use Taipan. So now I'm just using precision shots. I'm backing away. And then I use a dodge to reload my weapon. So I'm going to keep spamming Taipan until it doesn't send me back to orbit. Alright. So thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.